Jake Morrison stood in the control room of the ancient builder station, watching 15,000 coalition ships approach through the viewing ports. The largest fleet in galactic history was coming to destroy his ship and end humanity's threat to their plans. But now Jake knew the truth. Many of those ships were commanded by creatures that had been hiding among the galaxy's species for millions of years. "Captain, we need to get back to the Defiance," Danny Cruz said urgently. "Those ships will be in weapons range in 20 minutes. Jake looked at the holographic construct of the builder. "If I activate your network, what exactly happens?" "Every advanced technology in the galaxy stops working," the construct explained. "Ships fall out of hyperspace, weapons go silent, communication networks shut down. Entire civilizations are reduced to whatever they can build with their own hands." Linda Hayes was studying the builder technology around them. "Captain, I'm reading massive quantum fluctuations from our ship. The core is becoming unstable. If we don't do something soon, it might explode and take half this star system with it." Through the station's sensors, Jake could see the coalition fleet spreading out to surround them. But something was wrong with the formation. Ships from different species were separating from each other, as if they didn't trust their own allies. "Amy, are you picking up any unusual readings from those ships?" Jake asked. Amy Walsh checked her portable scanner. "Sir, about 30% of the fleet is showing quantum signatures that don't match their species. It's like something else is controlling those ships." The construct nodded grimly. "The Devourers reveal themselves when threatened. They can no longer maintain perfect disguises under stress." Jake made his decision. "We're going back to the ship, but first, I want to know how to activate this network if we need to." The construct gestured to a control panel that rose from the floor. "Place your hand on the quantum interface. Your ship's signature will link with all 50 stations simultaneously. But remember, once activated, there is no way to reverse the process." Jake memorized the location of the control panel, then led his team back to the Defiance. As they reached the bridge, the Coalition fleet was already in weapons range. "Incoming transmission," Amy announced. The main screen showed a familiar reptilian face. Admiral Zith had somehow survived the destruction of his flagship at Earth. But something was different about him. His scales seemed to shift color in the light, and his eyes held an intelligence that felt ancient and cold. "Human captain," Zith said, but his voice sounded wrong. Multiple tones spoke at once, like several people talking through the same mouth. "You have caused enough damage. Surrender now, and we will make your death quick." Jake studied the alien's face carefully. "You're not really Admiral Zith, are you?" The creature on the screen smiled, showing teeth that were too sharp and too many. "We are whoever we need to be. We have worn 1,000 faces, ruled 100 worlds. Your species was supposed to die quietly, but you forced us to reveal ourselves." "You're the Devourers," Jake said. "We are the inheritors of this galaxy," the creature replied. "We have been preparing for millions of years to complete what we started. Your primitive quantum technology will not save you." The transmission cut off. Immediately, the Coalition fleet opened fire. Thousands of energy beams and missiles streaked toward the Defiance and the builder station. But something unexpected happened. The ancient station activated its own defenses, creating a quantum shield that absorbed the incoming fire. The energy from the attacks was converted into power that made the station's systems even stronger. "The station is protecting us," Linda reported with amazement. "But sir, our quantum core is reaching critical levels. We have maybe 10 minutes before it becomes impossible to control." Jake looked at the tactical display. The Coalition ships were regrouping for another attack, but he could see chaos in their ranks. Ships that had been working together were now firing on each other as different species realized they had been fighting alongside ancient enemies. "Danny, can we target the ships showing false quantum signatures?" "Yes, sir. Our weapons can lock onto the Devourer energy patterns." Do it. Show the galaxy what their real enemies look like. The Defiance began firing its quantum pulse cannons. But this time, Jake ordered precise shots instead of massive area attacks. Each beam sought out ships controlled by the Devourers, ignoring the vessels crewed by normal aliens. When the quantum weapons hit Devourer ships, something terrible happened. The creatures inside could no longer maintain their disguises. Their true forms were revealed as the ships exploded, and the dying aliens broadcast their real appearance across all communication channels. The galaxy saw beings made of living shadow and hunger, creatures that existed only to consume and destroy. Species that had been part of the coalition for centuries realized they had been taking orders from monsters that wanted to devour their entire civilization. Panic spread through the coalition fleet. Ships began breaking away from the formation as their crews learned the truth about their leaders. Some vessels turned their weapons on ships they now knew were controlled by Devourers. "Sir, we're getting surrender signals from 2/3 of the fleet," Amy reported. "They're asking for protection from the creatures that have been ruling them." But the Defiance was running out of time. Warning alarms were sounding throughout the ship as the quantum core approached levels that could tear holes in space itself. "Captain, we have to make a choice now," Linda said urgently. "Either we activate the Builder network or we try to contain our own quantum core. We can't do both." Jake looked at the battle raging around them. Normal alien species were fighting against ships controlled by ancient horrors. The galaxy was already tearing itself apart as the truth came out. "Open a channel to all ships," Jake ordered. His voice carried across space to every vessel in the system. "This is Captain Morrison of the USS Defiance. I'm speaking to every species, represented in this fleet. You have a choice to make. The creatures that have been ruling your coalition are not your friends. They are parasites that have been manipulating you for millions of years." Jake paused, watching as more coalition ships broke away from Devourer control. "I can stop them, but the cost will be high. I can create a quantum field that will shut down all advanced technology in the galaxy for 1,000 years. No more starships, no more energy weapons, no more galactic civilizations, but also no more Devourers hiding among you." The response was immediate. Hundreds of alien captains began broadcasting their agreement. They had seen what the Devourers really were, and they knew that advanced technology would always give the creatures places to hide. "The galaxy chooses freedom over convenience," Jake said. "Linda, prepare to link with the Builder network." Jake took one last look at his crew. These people had followed him through an impossible war, and now they were about to change the galaxy forever. Activating network in 3, 2, 1. Jake reached out and touched the quantum interface that had appeared on his command chair. Instantly, he felt his consciousness expand across 50 star systems as the ancient builder stations came online. Space itself began to change. The quantum field spread outward at the speed of light, touching every ship, every planet, every piece of advanced technology in the galaxy. One by one, the lights went out. Coalition ships fell silent and drifted in space. The Defiance's own systems powered down as the field reached them. But Jake could see through the Builder network that it was working. Across the galaxy, creatures of shadow were being forced out of hiding as their technological disguises failed. The age of galactic civilization was over. But for the first time in millions of years, every species in the galaxy was truly free. Admiral Jake Morrison walked slowly across the bridge of the UES Defender. His old boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. The blue lights from the computer screens made his face look tired. He had been fighting aliens for 15 years. His hair was now gray, and his hands had scars from many battles. "Sir, we got another signal," said Lieutenant Commander Lisa Carter. She was sitting at the communications desk. Her fingers moved quickly over the buttons. "It's the same one we heard before. It's definitely from a human ship." Morrison stopped walking. He looked at the big screen that showed star maps. The signal was coming from deep inside enemy space. No human ship should be there. The Zephyrian aliens controlled that area. They had been winning the war for a long time. "How far away is this signal coming from?" Morrison asked. 200 light-years from our closest colony, sir," Carter replied. "Right in the middle of Zephyrian space. It's impossible for any of our ships to be there." Captain Ben Rodriguez stood up from his chair. He was the tactical officer and Morrison's oldest friend. They had fought together since the war started. Rodriguez pulled up files on his computer screen. "Admiral, look at this," Rodriguez said. "In the last month, something destroyed 3 big Zephyrian battleships. Something also attacked their supply convoys. The aliens are scared. They're calling it the Phantom of the Void." Morrison walked closer to look at the reports. The enemy ships were not just damaged, they were completely destroyed. Whatever attacked them was very powerful. But no human ship had that much firepower. "Not anymore." "Play the signal again," Morrison ordered. The bridge speakers crackled with static. Then a clear human voice came through. "This is Commander Alex Turner of the UES Vengeance. We are still working and continuing our mission. We need new targets to attack the enemy." Morrison felt cold. He knew that name. Every officer in the fleet knew that name. Commander Alex Turner was a hero, but he was also dead. "Check the records," Morrison told Rodriguez. Rodriguez typed quickly on his computer. His face went pale. "Sir, the UES Vengeance was destroyed 12 years ago at the Battle of Kepler Station. Commander Turner and all 200 crew members were killed. The ship was blown up by a Zephyrian superweapon." "That's impossible," said Carter. "We're talking to them right now." Dr. Karen Phillips walked over from her medical station. She was the chief doctor on the ship. She had been studying the signal for weeks. Her face looked worried. "Admiral, I've been checking the life signs in their transmissions," Dr. Phillips said. "There are definitely people on that ship. But the readings are strange. Very strange." "What do you mean, strange?" Morrison asked. "The biological patterns don't match normal humans," Dr. Phillips explained. "It's like they're alive, but not alive, at the same time." "I've never seen anything like it." Morrison sat down in his command chair. He had seen many impossible things during the war. The Zephyrians had technology that seemed like magic. But this was different. This was human technology that shouldn't exist. "Sir, incoming transmission," Carter announced. The main screen flickered. A man's face appeared. It was Commander Alex Turner. He looked exactly the same as he did 12 years ago. His uniform was clean and pressed. His eyes were bright. But something was wrong. There was a strange glow around him. "Admiral Morrison," Turner said. His voice had an odd echo. "It's good to see you again." "Turner, how is this possible?" Morrison asked. "You died at Kepler Station. We all saw the explosion." Turner smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "Death is more complicated than we thought, Admiral. The Vengeance and her crew experienced something unique that day. We didn't die in the normal way." Security Chief Steve Jackson was scanning the transmission with his equipment. "Sir, this isn't a normal hologram. The quantum readings are off. The charts. It's like he's here and not here at the same time. The experimental quantum drive on the Vengeance created an anomaly when we were destroyed," Turner continued. "We exist in a state between life and death now. Between destroyed and intact. We are ghosts, but we are also very real." Engineer Linda Brooks was monitoring the energy readings from her station. "Admiral, their ship is producing massive amounts of power, but there's no fuel source that we can detect. It's like they're drawing energy from space itself." Morrison stared at the image of Turner. His old friend looked exactly the same, but those eyes had seen things no human should see. "What happened to you out there, Alex?" "We learned that death is not the end, Jake," Turner replied. "When the Zephyrians destroyed us, the quantum drive core exploded in a way no one expected. Instead of dying, we became something new, something between dimensions." Dr. Phillips was still studying her readings. "Admiral, according to my scans, they're technically dead, but they're also more alive than any human should be. It doesn't make sense. We exist in multiple realities at once, Turner explained. We can see things that haven't happened yet. We can be in several places at the same time. The Zephyrians can't understand us because we operate outside their knowledge of physics. Rodriguez looked at his tactical display. Sir, if what he's saying is true, they could be the most powerful weapon we have. They're hitting enemy targets that should be impossible to reach. But at what cost? Morrison asked. Alex, are you still human? Turner was quiet for a moment. We remember being human. We remember our families, our hopes, our fears. But we are something more now and something less. Carter received another signal. Admiral, we're getting reports from the front lines. 3 more Zephyrian ships were destroyed an hour ago. Same pattern as before. Complete destruction with no trace of the attacker. That was us, Turner said. We hit their patrol fleet near the Sigma Nebula. They never saw us coming. We can phase in and out of normal space. Morrison realized this was bigger than just one ship. How many of you are there? The original crew of 200, Turner answered. We all share this quantum existence. We work together as one mind sometimes. Other times we're individuals. It depends on what the mission requires. Engineer Brooks shook her head in amazement. Their technology readings are impossible. They're operating systems that shouldn't exist. It's like they've moved beyond normal physics. We need to meet in person, Morrison decided. Can you do that? Turner nodded. We can manifest physically for short periods. But be warned, Admiral. Seeing us in person is different from talking through transmissions. We are not the crew you remember. Set coordinates for the Helix Nebula, Morrison ordered. We'll meet there in 3 days. Understood, Turner replied. Admiral, prepare your crew for what they're about to see. The war is about to change. The ghost ship that shouldn't exist is about to show you what we've become. The transmission ended. The bridge was quiet except for the soft humming of the ship's engines. Morrison looked around at his crew. They all had the same expression of wonder and fear. Sir, should we inform Fleet Command? Rodriguez asked. Morrison thought carefully. Not yet. Let's see what we're dealing with first. If Turner and his crew are really what they claim to be. This could change everything. He looked out at the stars through the main window. Somewhere out there, a ship full of dead heroes was fighting a war that the living couldn't win. Morrison wondered if they were humanity's salvation or something else entirely. 3 days before the alien fleets arrived at Earth, Dr. Lisa Cooper was working in the most secret place in the solar system. The research facility was buried deep under the moon's south pole, hidden beneath layers of ice and rock where no alien scanner could find it. Lisa stood in front of a massive machine that hummed with strange energy. The dark matter drive was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. It was the size of a small building and glowed with a soft blue light that seemed to bend space around it. Final calibration complete, she called out to her team. The dark matter field is holding steady at 98% efficiency. Dr. Ben Rodriguez looked up from his monitoring station. His face was covered in sweat even though the facility was kept cold. Lisa, what we're doing here shouldn't be possible. According to every physics textbook in the galaxy, dark matter can't be controlled like this. Chief Engineer Rachel Stone crawled out from inside the engine core, her clothes dirty with strange oil that seemed to shimmer with its own light. Ben's right. This thing doesn't just move through space. It's actually convincing space to move, around us instead. Lisa smiled and wiped her hands on a clean cloth. She had spent 5 years of her life creating this technology. 5 years of working 18 hours a day, solving problems that the smartest aliens in the galaxy said were impossible to solve. That's exactly why it works, Lisa explained to her team. The council races have been using the same basic technology for thousands of years. They make improvements, but they never question the basic ideas behind their science. She walked over to a large window that looked out into the engine chamber. Inside, streams of energy flowed in patterns that hurt to Look at directly. The energy was dark matter, the invisible stuff that made up most of the universe but that no one had ever learned to control before. When I was studying at Earth University, I read some very old books about quantum physics, Lisa continued. The books were written by human scientists hundreds of years ago, long before we met any aliens. These humans had crazy ideas about how the universe worked. Dr. Rodriguez joined her at the window. What kind of crazy ideas? They asked questions that no alien scientist would ever ask. Questions like, what if space and time aren't really separate things? What if matter and energy are just different ways of looking at the same thing? What if the laws of physics aren't really laws but just habits that the universe has gotten used to? Rachel Stone laughed, but it was a nervous laugh. You're saying that human scientists were better than alien scientists even before we had space travel? Not better, Lisa said carefully. Different. Alien civilizations developed technology by building on what they already knew. They found ways to make fusion reactors more efficient. They built bigger ships and stronger weapons. But they never asked if there might be a completely different way to do things. She pointed at the dark matter drive. This machine doesn't work by following the laws of physics. It works by convincing the universe to ignore those laws for a little while. We're not moving through space faster than light. We're making space move around us while we stay in the same place. The three scientists stood in silence for a moment, watching the impossible machine do impossible things. Outside the facility, they knew that alien fleets were racing toward Earth with the intention of enslaving humanity. But down here in the hidden laboratory, humans had created something that would change everything. Dr. Cooper called Lieutenant Danny Walsh from the communications station. I'm receiving a message from Captain Morrison on the Vengeance. He wants a full status. Report on all 8 ships. Lisa walked over to the communications panel and activated the quantum entanglement network. This was another piece of technology that aliens said was impossible. The network allowed instant communication between all 8 dark matter ships, no matter how far apart they were. This is Dr. Cooper to all ships. Report your dark matter drive status. One by one, the other 7 ships reported in. The HSS Retribution near Mars was fully operational. The HSS Defiance beyond Jupiter was ready for action. The HSS Liberty in the asteroid belt was standing by. All 8 ships were hidden throughout the solar system, invisible to alien sensors, waiting for the order to strike. All ships report ready, Captain Morrison, Lisa transmitted back to the Vengeance. Captain Morrison's voice came through the speakers clearly, as if he was standing right next to them. Outstanding work, Dr. Cooper. How confident are you that the alien fleets won't be able to detect us? Lisa looked at her monitoring equipment. Completely confident, sir. When our ships activate their dark matter drives, they exist partially outside normal space-time. To alien sensors, will look like empty space. Their instruments will register nothing more than background cosmic radiation. What the aliens didn't understand was that humans had approached the problem of space travel from a completely different direction. While alien ships pushed through space using brute force, human ships convinced space to cooperate with them instead. There's something else, Captain, Lisa continued. Our weapons will work against alien ships, but their weapons won't work against us. When we fire our dark matter cannons, the energy bursts travel through normal space where alien ships exist. But when they fire at us, their weapons will pass harmlessly through ships that are partially phased out of reality. Dr. Rodriguez shook his head in amazement. It's like we're fighting a battle where we can hit them, but they can't hit us back. That's exactly what it's like, Lisa agreed. The Council fleets are coming here expecting to fight primitive fusion ships with weak weapons and no shields. Instead, they're going to face technology that's so advanced they won't even understand what's happening to them. Rachel Stone was monitoring the engine core again. Lisa, what happens after we win this battle? The Council isn't going to just give up and leave us alone. Lisa thought about that question carefully. She knew that once humans revealed their dark matter technology, everything would change. The Galactic Council would no longer be able to treat Earth like a primitive backwater planet. After today, the Council will have to recognize us as equals, she said finally. They'll have no choice. You can't keep a species in chains when that species has technology that's better than yours. Lieutenant Walsh looked up from his station, again. Dr. Cooper, I'm receiving a priority message from Earth Command. Admiral Peterson is asking if we're ready to begin Operation Dark Dawn. Lisa took a deep breath and looked around the secret facility that had been her home for the past 3 years. Soon, the most closely guarded secret in human history would be revealed to the galaxy. Tell Admiral Peterson that we're ready, she said. Tell him that it's time to show the Galactic Council what happens when you underestimate human ingenuity. The countdown to humanity's greatest moment had begun. The ancient structure floating in the dark outer system was massive. Jake Morrison stared at the main screen as the Defiance approached what looked like a space station built by giants. The thing was at least 50 kilometers long and covered, with strange symbols that glowed with the same blue quantum energy that powered their ship. I'm reading technology that's millions of years old, Linda Hayes said from her engineering station. But it's still active, still functional. Captain, this thing is responding to our quantum core like they're old friends. Any signs of life? Jake asked. None that I can detect, Amy Walsh replied from navigation. But there are automated systems running, and sir, I'm picking up similar structures in 17 other star systems. They're all connected somehow. Danny Cruz looked up from his weapons station. Captain, we're getting a signal from the structure. It's not in any language I recognize, but our computer is translating it automatically. Put it through, Jake ordered. A voice filled the bridge, speaking in perfect English, but with a strange musical quality. Welcome, inheritors. You have awakened the network. Please dock at the designated port for orientation. Jake felt his heart beating faster. Inheritors? What does that mean? The voice answered as if it had heard his question. You carry the quantum signature of the builders. You are the species we have been waiting for. A section of the ancient station began to glow, showing them where to dock. Jake looked at his crew, seeing the same mixture of excitement and fear in their faces that he felt in his chest. Take us in, Amy, he decided, but keep our weapons charged, just in case. The Defiance moved carefully toward the docking port. As they got closer, Jake could see that the station's hull was made of some kind of metal that seemed to shift and flow like liquid. Strange energy patterns moved across its surface in hypnotic waves. When they docked, the station's systems automatically created an atmosphere bridge between the ships. Jake selected a small team to explore the structure. He brought Linda to understand the technology, Danny for security, and Amy to help navigate. The interior of the station was unlike anything they had ever seen. The corridors were too tall for humans, obviously built for beings much larger than people. But as they walked deeper into the structure, the walls began to adjust, making the spaces more comfortable for human-sized visitors. The station is changing itself to fit us, Linda said in amazement. The technology here is beyond anything we can imagine. They found a large central chamber filled with floating displays that showed star maps of the entire galaxy. But these weren't current maps. They showed the galaxy as it had been millions of years ago, when different species ruled different sectors of space. A holographic figure appeared in the center of the room. It looked somewhat human, but was at least 3 meters tall, with glowing, blue eyes and skin that seemed to be made of living metal. Greetings, young quantum wielders, the figure said. I am a memory construct of the builders. We created this network long ago as a defense against an ancient enemy. What enemy? Jake asked. The hologram gestured to the star maps, which began to change. Jake watched as entire sectors of the galaxy turned black, showing civilizations being destroyed one by one. We called them the Devourers, the construct explained. They came from beyond our galaxy, consuming not just planets and stars, but the very fabric of space itself. They could take any form, infiltrate any society, corrupt any leader. Linda stepped forward. Are you saying these devourers are still out there? They never left, the construct replied. They have been hiding among the younger species for millions of years, waiting for the right moment to complete their conquest. We built the quantum technology as the only weapon that could stop them. The star maps changed again, showing the current galaxy. Red markers appeared on hundreds of worlds, showing where the devourers had hidden themselves. The coalition leadership has been infiltrated, the construct continued. Many of the beings giving orders to attack your species are not what they appear to be. The devourers recognized the quantum signature in your technology and moved to eliminate humanity before you could become a threat to their plans. Jake felt cold understanding wash over him. The war against Earth wasn't about resources or territory. It was about stopping us from developing this technology. Correct, the construct confirmed. But the devourers made a mistake. By forcing you into conflict, they caused your quantum systems to evolve faster than we ever thought possible. Your ship has already surpassed many of our original designs. Danny looked at the weapons readings on his portable scanner. Sir, our quantum core is interacting with this station. Our power levels are increasing. The construct nodded. The network is designed to enhance quantum technology, but there is a price. The more powerful your systems become, the more unstable they grow. Eventually, your ship will become too dangerous to control. What do you mean? Jake demanded. The quantum core is learning to manipulate space and time on a galactic scale, the construct explained. In its current state of evolution, it could destroy entire solar systems by accident. In its final form, it could unravel the fabric of reality itself. Linda's face went pale. How long do we have? Based on current evolution rates, perhaps weeks, maybe less. The construct's expression became more serious. But there is another option. This network contains quantum control stations in 50 star systems. If activated simultaneously, they could create a field that suppresses all advanced technology in the galaxy. Jake stared at the hologram. You're talking about ending the technological age for every species in the galaxy. Yes. It would force all civilizations back to primitive levels until the devourer threat could be eliminated. It is the ultimate weapon, designed to be used only when facing total extinction. Amy looked at the star maps, showing the location of all 50 control stations. How do we activate this network? The process requires a quantum signature as advanced as your ship currently possesses, the construct replied. But be warned, once activated, the field cannot be turned off for at least 1,000 years. Every advanced civilization in the galaxy would be reduced to pre-industrial technology. Jake felt the weight of impossible responsibility settling on his shoulders. He could save humanity and the galaxy from the devourers, but only by destroying the technological achievements of millions of species. Captain, Linda said quietly, our quantum core just surged again. We're reading power levels that are off any scale I understand. The ship is becoming something beyond our control. Through the station's windows, Jake could see coalition ships approaching. 3 fleets, moving in formation. But now he knew that some of those ships weren't crewed by aliens trying to protect their territories. Some of them contained ancient enemies who had been manipulating galactic politics for millions of years. How many ships? He asked Amy. 15,000, she replied. Every species in the coalition. They're coming to finish what they started at Earth. Jake looked at the holographic construct. If we activate your network, what happens to the devourers? Without advanced technology to hide behind, they will be forced to reveal their true forms, the construct explained. But they will be trapped in primitive bodies, unable to escape your galaxy for centuries. The coalition fleets were getting closer. Jake could see that this wasn't just another battle. This was the final confrontation that would decide the fate of every species in the galaxy. And he had to choose between becoming a monster himself or giving everyone a chance to start over. The USS Defiance moved away from Earth's shadow like a shark entering dangerous waters. Jake Morrison watched the tactical display as his single ship approached the massive coalition fleet. 10,000 enemy vessels waited for them, spread across space in a formation that could have swallowed entire star systems. "They're not even trying to hide," Danny Cruz said from his weapons station. "Look at them. They think this will be easy." Jake nodded. The coalition ships hung in space with their weapons powered down. They probably thought one human ship would surrender as soon as it saw the size of their fleet. They were about to learn how wrong they could be. "Linda, what's our power status?" Jake asked. "Quantum core is at 90%, the chief engineer replied. Her fingers danced over her controls as she monitored systems that had never been tested in real combat. "Energy readings are off the charts. Captain, I'm seeing fluctuations I don't understand. It's like the core is learning how to work better." "Learning?" Jake turned to look at her. "What do you mean?" "The quantum field is adjusting itself, getting stronger, more stable. It shouldn't be able to do that, but the computer shows it's happening anyway." Before Jake could ask more questions, Admiral Zaith's face appeared on the main screen again. The reptilian alien looked pleased with himself. Behind him, Jake could see other coalition officers watching with interest. "Human Captain, you have one final chance to surrender," Zaith said. "As you can see, resistance is pointless. One ship cannot defeat 10,000. Jake stood up from his command chair and smiled. "Admiral, you're absolutely right. One normal ship couldn't win this fight, but the Defiance isn't normal." "What do you mean?" Zith's yellow eyes narrowed with suspicion. "You're about to find out," Jake replied. "Danny, fire when ready." The weapons officer's hands moved over his controls. Firing quantum pulse cannons. Nothing seemed to happen for a moment. Then space itself seemed to bend around the Defiance. Waves of blue energy rippled out from the ship like stones thrown into a pond. The waves moved faster than light, reaching the coalition fleet in seconds. When the energy hit the first line of enemy ships, something impossible happened. The alien vessels didn't just explode, they seemed to fold in on themselves, crumpling, like paper balls before disappearing completely. 50 coalition ships vanished in the first attack. "What was that?" Amy Walsh gasped from her navigator station. "I don't know," Linda said, staring at her readings. "The quantum weapons aren't just destroying matter, they're unmaking it, breaking it down to pure energy." Admiral Zith's shocked face filled the screen. "Impossible. No species has weapons like that." "Humans do," Jake said calmly. "And we're just getting started. Amy, take us into the middle of their formation. Danny, keep firing." The Defiance surged forward, moving faster than any ship its size should be able to. As it flew toward the coalition fleet, its quantum weapons kept firing. Each shot erased more enemy ships from existence, but something even stranger was happening. Jake noticed it first on the tactical display. The Defiance was showing up in 3 different places at once. "Amy, check our position," he ordered. The navigator looked confused. "Sir, according to sensors, we're here on the bridge, but our quantum signature is also showing up 2,000 kilometers to port and 5,000 kilometers above us. It's the quantum core," Linda said with excitement and fear in her voice. "The energy field is creating copies of us in nearby dimensions. We're fighting in 3 realities at the same time." Jake felt his heart racing. This was beyond anything they had expected. The quantum core wasn't just powering weapons. It was changing the basic rules of space and time around their ship. The coalition fleet began to respond to the attack. Thousands of energy beams and missiles flew toward the Defiance, but most of them passed right through the ship without causing any damage. The few that did hit were absorbed by shields that seemed to get stronger with each impact. "Our shields are adapting," Danny reported. "Each time they hit us with a different weapon, our defenses learn how to stop it." Admiral Zith was screaming orders at his fleet, but Jake could see panic spreading through the coalition forces. Ships that had been in perfect formation were now scattered across space, trying to target an enemy that appeared to be everywhere, and nowhere at once. "Sir?" We're getting communication signals from some of the coalition ships, Amy said. They're not all following Zith's orders anymore. Jake looked at the tactical display. Several hundred ships from different alien species were pulling back from the battle. They had seen enough to know this wasn't a fight they could win. The Kelleran ships are retreating, Danny announced. So are the Vistan cruisers and the Zephyrian destroyers. They're abandoning the fight, Jake realized. Smart aliens. But Admiral Zith wasn't giving up. The Vorthak battleships moved closer, firing everything they had at the Defiance. Their weapons were more powerful than the smaller ships, and some of their shots were getting through the quantum shields. Hull damage on Deck 7, Linda reported. But it's healing itself. Captain, our ship is regenerating using quantum energy. Jake shook his head in amazement. The Defiance was becoming something more than a warship. It was evolving during the battle, becoming stronger and more deadly with each passing minute. Time to end this, Jake decided. Danny, charge the main quantum cannon, full power. Sir, we've never fired the main cannon, Danny said nervously. Linda's calculations show it could tear a hole in space. Then we'll be very careful where we aim it, Jake replied. Target Admiral Zith's flagship. The Defiance stopped moving and seemed to gather energy around itself. Space bent and twisted as the quantum core channeled unimaginable power into the ship's main weapon. Every light on the bridge dimmed as energy flowed through systems that were pushing the boundaries of known science. Firing main quantum cannon, Danny announced. A beam of pure white energy erupted from the Defiance. But this wasn't like the pulse cannons. This beam seemed to cut through reality itself, creating a tunnel of twisted space that reached across thousands of kilometers in an instant. Admiral Zith's massive flagship, along with 50 ships around, it simply ceased to exist. They didn't explode or burn. One moment they were there, and the next moment there was only empty space. The remaining coalition ships stopped firing. Complete silence fell over the battlefield as thousands of alien crews tried to understand what they had just witnessed. Jake opened a communication channel to the entire fleet. This is Captain Morrison of the USS Defiance. Any ship that wants to leave this system alive should turn around and go home. Now. Within an hour, the coalition Grand Fleet was gone. 10,000 ships had fled from one human vessel. As Jake watched the last enemy ship disappear into hyperspace, he realized that everything had changed. Humanity was no longer the hunted species in the galaxy.